Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Watson Michael from Ceylon Institute of English and Leadership. And once again, we're glad to have Mr. Dean Wantenaar back with us. So for all those who don't know, Dean is a Chief Sales Officer at Gravy. He's a health and fitness specialist. Also, he's an executive coach, and he's known to perform well under adversity. Also, both of us are big-time MMA fans. So, Dean, welcome back. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Watson. It's lovely to be with you again.
Such an honor to have you
sincerely
back.
hope you had a great new year with your family. We're looking forward to 2023.
Absolutely. So it's still the beginning, but all right, we're always ready for the challenge. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. So, Dean, what are your views on work and life balance?
Okay. I think that, very good question. I think it's important to have a good work-life balance.
Yes.
Because everything, in a sense, in life should kind of operate in a state of harmony.
Yes.
So I think it's important for both mind and body and soul to kind of be in harmony.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not in harmony, then it may tend to sort of affect, different areas of your life. So there has to be a point where work stops, because life takes over.
Yeah.
And life only stops when you're dead. So nobody wants to work so hard that they end up dead for no reason, because they haven't had that balance. So I'm not saying that it's bad. It's bad to work, but there's a healthy level of work, which obviously you need to do to contribute to society and be a good contributor to your family and to those around you, and be a useful human being in that respect. But there has to be a balance. I just feel that, it's like you can liken it to a car that's where the wheels are not in alignment.
Yeah.
And what starts happening, it's okay for a while, but eventually if you don't attend to that alignment, your car's not going to drive very well on the road. And that is just kind of like us, Once we start getting out of alignment too much, life doesn't seem to go too well, and you might end up having a blowout or a crash or something.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. So these days, like many people, they're not exercising, right? And most of them are having like various illnesses. They're having mental health issues like PTSD. So
definitely.
So how important is it to exercise? Because there are many forms of exercising.
Of course, for me, being a guy who's been in the fitness game his whole life, my whole working career almost, over 25 years. For me, exercise is the most natural drug in the world. That is the most natural drug. So we used to joke about this in the fitness business, where, we used to say that the number one competition when it came to other clubs or people not joining your club was not better trainers or better programs or better facilities. But we used to say that hands down, the number one competitor is the couch, is the couch. But now, of course, we're living in the age of the internet and the internet of things. So the biggest competition is the couch and maybe the tablet or the cell phone. I think that the combination of both it's quite scary, because they say, if you look at statistics globally, they say about 25% of the world is inactive. So inactivity is the biggest killer. 60% of US adults almost are inactive. And of course, globally, that I think it's the World Health Organization puts that at 3.2 million deaths that are caused just from people not being active in their life. And that's quite a staggering amount of people if you think about it. So that's why even certain insurers or companies now are incentivizing their clients to train, so that they will ultimately reduce the number of claims that they're going to claim on the medical aid or the hospital plan, for example, because they even know that just being active and at least being maybe 3 times a week active is going to make a huge difference to the claims over 20 years, And so that's why they're starting to incentivize and reward programs like that, you know.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Right. So you can see.
So just keep moving, be active, at least even if you're walking, maybe taking up hiking or something like that, but don't sit on the couch and sit on a tablet or sit behind a phone for hours and hours and hours. It eventually becomes quite harmful, I think, you know.
Very true. Very true. Absolutely. I totally agree with you. So what are some ways we can work, I mean, like we can make the work environment more transparent?
Yeah, interesting question. I think for me, fairly simple. It's about, obviously, you know, people tend to move towards, let's have more meetings, let's increase the communication, have like more engagement, etc. But at the end of the day, for me, if you want a company or the organization to be transparent, there's only one thing that matters, and that is honesty. Like, I mean, brutal honesty. So you can have all the HR programs, team building programs, incentives, etc. in the world. But if the people that are leading the organization are not being honest, or they're not displaying a brutal honesty within the organization, then all those programs are kind of just like fluff on the outside. They're not getting to the core of it. And you know, sometimes honesty it is hard. It's hard to take honest feedback. It's hard to take honest criticism. Even sometimes as a boss, it's probably hard to always be honest with the state of the organization, especially if things are not good. So if you want to get transparency, for me, the answer would be to be very honest with each other always, and have that kind of open door. There's no hiding anything, and then you avoid that kind of situation where staff start to doubt each other. They start to doubt the relationships. They start to doubt the leadership. Because staff know sort of subconsciously, I think we know when like leadership is lying to them. And so the transparency starts to, and of course, if there's nothing to hide from that perspective within the company, transparency increases, dishonesty reduces. Because what will happen is if you're in an organization where you sense or you have a subconscious feeling that people are being lied to, or that the leadership's lying to you, you go into the typical fight or flight kind of syndrome. And then all the normal kind of, let's say, colonized human behavior starts to happen. Like you watch on this Survivor, you know, sometimes you watch the Survivor series, you know, cliques start to form, little groups start to form, because people know that people are not being honest, and so the transparency eventually just dies out, and you start getting that like grouping where they defend, or you know, switch teams or switch parties just to survive. Where brutal honesty survives, of course, you know, then everyone feels kind of relaxed and there's nothing to hide, and so transparency will be at its highest level then.
Absolutely, totally, I agree with you. So these days, due to the global inflation, we see that many people are finding difficult and they're facing so many challenges. How can we keep moving forward without taking negative things in our head?
So I read a very interesting study once about why certain group of people lives to 100 years of age over another. So the three regions that actually in the world where people live longer than most other people was obviously Okinawa, Japan was the first one. The second one was Sicily, in the wine plantations of Sicily, and the other part was in a place in the Midwest in the US. And so the survey kind of filtered out 5 things that were the reasons, or what they sort of had ascertained, that why these people live to 100 more commonly than anywhere else in the globe. The first point they made was friendships, like long-lasting old friendships. So for me, I will take these 5 as a guide to how to survive in a, let's say, a rather worrying world. You know, we sometimes, you know, we're living in some very strange times. And there is a little bit of like uncertainty about the future.
Yeah.
So nurturing friendships and making sure your old friendships are maintained. The other one was their diet, what food they ate. So of course, in Okinawa, Japan, it was the fish. A strong fish diet, good protein diet. In Sicily, it was olives and grapes and wine that were all very good for them. And then, of course, in the Midwest, those people, it was like, homegrown sort of organic vegetables and things like that. So it's important to watch the diet. Of course, we spoke about it earlier, the exercise. So all of them, whatever they were doing, whether it was in Japan, they were fishing, or in Italy, working in the grapevine and vineyards, and in the Midwest doing farming and stuff like that, there was a portion of their life did have some exercise, or, let's say physical activity. The fourth one was that there was some sort of religious base or spiritual base, in terms of their religion or their religious beliefs. So there was a spiritual aspect to their life. And then the last one was respect, believe it or not, was that especially as the people got older, there was a respect for the elders. So I would say that, in this uncertain time, that's not a bad guideline, just to watch your friendships, watch your diet, maybe exercise, at least moderately. Take care of the spiritual aspect of your life, in whatever religion you follow or religious practice you follow. And obviously then just, giving respect and being respected back is it's integral to your mental health, like you mentioned earlier. There is a lot of people suffering that. So if you can just concentrate on those 5 things, it would be a good thing, I think, to help you stay positive and move forward.
Absolutely. Wise words, Dean, right? Superb explanation. So what is the final message you would like to give our viewers and the people who are listening?
Well, like I said, we're living in some quite strange times, lots of uncertainty. Human beings, we have a tendency to want to know what is going to happen in the future.
Yes.
I'm not saying run out and go and visit some fortune tellers. I wouldn't advise that. But the Japanese have a concept called ikigai. And ikigai, And ikigai, it roughly translates into your reason to get up every day, or your reason for living. And it doesn't have to be some grand scheme, like I'm going to be a famous YouTuber, or I'm going to have a famous Twitter platform in which I speak, or whatever. It's quite a simple purpose. It might just be simply providing a good education for your kids or for your family, a good financial security. But you have to find your ikigai, Watson. You have to try and understand what it is that gets you up every day. And keeps you moving forward. And so that would be my message to your followers, is to try and find what your ikigai is. What is the reason you get up every single day? And what is the purpose of your life? And like I say, it doesn't have to be this like grand, not everybody can be famous. It's just the fact, you know. And the way media and internet is, of course, we tend to idolize the famous people, but that's not reality.
Correct.
There's a saying, actually, there's another saying where I can't recall who it is, but it's a famous poet, I think, who said that most men live quiet lives of desperation, actually. And the vast majority of people just have very simple lives, but you have to have a purpose. You have to find what it is. If you don't have one, just think about it and then say, that's what I'm going to use to get me out of bed every day and keep me moving forward. And have a purpose, And so find your ikigai. That's what I would say as a final message to your viewers, is find out what that is and hold on to it.
Absolutely. Wise words, right? Even a professor couldn't have explained it better. So Dean, Dean, we thank you a lot for taking time from a busy schedule and doing this podcast with us. So it was such an honor to have you with us.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Watson. I really appreciate it, and yeah, I hope it brings lots of value to your listeners.
Thank you very much, Dean, and take care.
Take care. Have a great day. Thank you.
You too.